How you doing, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Bears Game Preview. We're headed off to New Jersey to meet the New York Giants here from PNC Studios. I am Jeff Joniak, along with my broadcast partner from News Radio 105.9 WBBM, the great Tom Thayer. We always love playing the Giants. Things have gone well against the Giants.
Yeah, we've had some good and we've had some bad in New York, and the season's moving so quickly. It's amazing that we're here already talking about the fourth game of the year, and it's just trying to build that continuous momentum and continue to develop this team and go out and give the Giants everything you have.
So far at 2-1, things could be a lot worse, obviously. Given that you're a one-dimensional team for the time being. And that, to me, is where the good news lies. There's a lot of good things going on in parts, and it's early. And this is where you're kind of depositing some success that will affect you later in the season. You're going to get better. This is a brand new bunch. And the passing game is not always going to be at this level. That's good news if you're a Chicago Bears fan.
But you have to make your improvement during the week of practice, because it's hard to get instrumentally better during a game itself. You have to use everything that you've practiced during the course of the week, the things you're comfortable with, and the different discussions that Justin and Luke Getsy can have about the continuous development of the passing game.
All right, I know you don't sleep well, but in maybe a good way this week, he's sitting there going, oh my gosh, they ran the ball for 281 yards, and their number one back left the game after 11 plays. David Montgomery, hope he'll be better soon. Need him in there as well. But Khalil Herbert, the guys up front, they were getting a lot of space. 190 yards before contact out of the 281.
Chris Morgan, the offensive line coach, really did a nice job of organizing multiple blockers in the position they have to get to. Because when you see an offensive play and it's designed, there's lines that go straight, that's your responsibility. But the reality of it is, if you're a tight end, you have to have a big block on the line of scrimmage. If you're a guard pulling, you have to know how to attack your outside responsibility. If you're an interior offensive lineman, you have to know the proper angle of approach to get to the linebackers. Every one of these guys that had multiple jobs to do during the course of the game. And then with Khalil Herbert and the way that he was able to complement the blocking in front of him, it was fun game to watch on tape.
Don't forget the receivers.
Yeah,
they are. Yeah. Equanimous St. Brown doing his job, getting some good blocks in at the receiving position. That's been a great find as well if this group wants to block and asks to block.
If they want to play, they got to block. And that's the great thing about that narrative of receivers in the NFL. You're not only going to be a great receiver, at some way, shape, or form, you're going to have an impactful block.
All right, so can they continue this pace on the ground? The Giants have given up a lot of rushing yards per game as well. Wink Martindale's crew, his first name's Don. Wink Martindale is a pressure package type of guy. He gets creative, but first and foremost, everybody's got to stop the run before they earn the right to run the passer, as we know, but everybody's getting some pretty good yards. They did get gouged again last night.
Well, you have to make sure you understand your assignments at the line of scrimmage, no matter where the guys are lining up. And then when they start reaching in those landmarks where the linebackers are walked up by the defensive line, you have to understand how to adjust your responsibilities. To me, if I have a linebacker walking up over the top of me and I'm an offensive lineman, I think that is an immediate win. I'm going to win the game of leverage. I'm going to get my hands inside, and I'm going to be able to push a linebacker at the line of scrimmage rather than having that aggressive angle of approach that I talked about. So I think the Bears can run the ball as successfully as they have been able to do. You think of the atmosphere, it was loud in Green Bay. The Bears ran the ball well. It's going to be loud in New York, and I think the Bears can continue to run it well.
And eventually the passing game's got to pay off, because at some point they're just going to continue to throw bodies in that box and challenge Justin Fields and the receivers to get open.
That's my concern. Khalil Herbert, we know what a great runner he is. We have to understand what a good blocker he's going to need to be. Dave Montgomery is one of the best blocking running backs that I've seen around here in a long time. When you face a defensive coordinator like Martindale, he's going to say, okay, what can your running back do? Kari Blasingame, that dude can sit back there all day and block like an offensive lineman. But I need Khalil Herbert to be able to step up to the plate and protect Justin Fields when that's his obligation on the play called.
All right, Leonard Williams has a sprained MCL, so he didn't play in the the Dallas game. It's a 2 to 4 week injury. This will be week 3. He makes a difference in stopping the run. They get some young pass rushers back, including their first-round pick, Kayvon Thibodeau, also Azeez Ojulari. They've got good guys up front. So that's an interesting defense run by a guy who likes to get creative. I mean, he gets really creative if he wants to be, at least in the past. I don't know if he's got the personnel to do that, but let's find out.
But if Williams comes in and he's hobbled, I'm going to go attack him repeatedly, multiple angles, multiple bodies. If Thibodeau comes in and he wants to be the pass rusher like he was in college to get himself drafted where he is, he's still a little bit uncertain about how guys are going to block him, because the reason he's out is a tight end coming across the formation and hitting him about pad level. I'm going to have him concentrate on looking down at the ground instead of looking at his responsibilities. So if you're going to play, you're going to get your snaps. You had a pass deflected against the Dallas Cowboys, but I'm going to attack you. I'm going to see where you're at this stage of your young career.
Oh, that's that offensive line in you,
heck
boy.
Yeah.
You're diabolical. How about let's look at the offensive line of the New York Giants. Daniel Jones, he's impressing me so far. He really is, because he's moving within the pocket, buying himself some time, but his eyes are never leaving downfield, and he's mobile. He can eject the pocket. Had almost 80 yards against Dallas on Monday Night Football. He did get pressured relentlessly by Dallas. 25 pressures. He was hit 13 times, sacked 5 times. Can the Bears create that kind of pressure on Daniel Jones while keeping him from picking up first downs with his legs?
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple angles of rush that you can take advantage of against the New York Giants. At first, it starts with rookie right tackle. He gave up 3 sacks in the first half against Lawrence, and so you're going to have to test him. And the Bears have multiple bodies, multiple pass rushers that they can put in where a rookie offensive tackle doesn't fall into a rhythm of how you block this guy specifically. Okay, one play you got Al-Queen Muhammad in there, and then another play you got Trevis Gibson in there. Oh, let's throw Dominique Robinson in there. So there are multiple guys that have pass rushing talent that you can make this right tackle contend with the whole time. But, Robert Quinn, he's the type of guy that he can go and play against what they consider their best offensive tackle in Andrew Thomas and still get pressure against him. So that's the positive that the Bears can take into New York.
Saquon Barkley's back. Let's call it that. He's back. He is number 1 in the NFL in yards from scrimmage. That includes the passing game because he's a heck of a receiver. Where the responsibilities lie in keeping this guy in check?
Obviously, it's going to be the defensive linemen making sure that they can hold up multiple offensive linemen so they don't get to that second level. We kind of see the emergence of what Roquan and Nicholas Morrow can do as a tandem, and the other linebackers that fall in the play depending upon the defense called. So if those defensive linemen can really create stalemates against the offensive linemen and don't allow them to get to the second level, look for them to be able to chase down Saquon Barkley. Because the Bears are really fortunate. You're talking about 2 linebackers that have significant speed, so they can chase him, but they want to stop him before he gets his momentum going. He's a great pass catcher out of the backfield. If he catches a screen in perfect position with blockers in front of him, he can convert those to big plays. So yeah, you're going to have your hands full with Saquon Barkley, but like you said, Daniel Jones really, when you talk about the 9 runs he had for 79 yards and the sacks he took and the hits he took, that's a lot of abuse to that quarterback position. So does he want to sneak the ball out of his hands early to a guy like Saquon? Pay attention.
All right, let's look at our players to watch in this one, offensive and defensively. Where are you going on the offensive side of the ball for the Bears?
Offensive side of the ball, I wrote it down, and I'm going to go again to Khalil Herbert, the blocker, not Khalil Herbert, the runner. I have all the faith in the world in him and how he complements the offensive line, his vision. But now, because we talked about the defensive coordinator in Martindale, he's going to throw a lot of bodies at the line of scrimmage, and he's going to challenge a blocker when he's got to be a blocker.
I'm going to go to Justin Fields, QB1. I think he's had enough of the nonsense of what's going on in terms of getting that passing game going. I think he said it best, after he threw that second interception last week. Hey, you know what? I'm not going to use the language, but you know what I'm thinking. Yeah. Hey, let's just go. Yeah. Let's just go. Don't press. It's going to be a challenge no matter how you slice it on the road, but your running game travels well. That's usually the case in the National Football League. You're going to still lean into that. I'm going to Justin Fields. How about defensively?
I'm going to go with Eddie Jackson, and this is the reason why. I want him to get an interception because the Bears win when he gets an interception. However, so you don't know what's up with Kadarius Toney. You said Sterling Shepard's injured. Kenny Golladay has been a limited participant in this offense. And so I think when you have Eddie Jackson, who kind of freelanced the vision of what Daniel Jones is looking at under pressure or trying to make a big play at the wrong time, I think Eddie Jackson is the type of guy that can sit back there and be the playmaker with vision and get one more.
I'm sticking with the Justins. We're going Justin Jones. For me, had 3 technique defensive tackles, had back-to-back strong games, 8 tackles a couple weeks ago, had a sack, his first as a Bear this past week. It's a vital position in this defense.
Yep.
If they want to continue to get better at stopping the run, he's a part of that. Getting pressure on the pocket, maybe to move Jones off his spot, create lower windows of opportunity in terms of his sight vision and so forth. So I'm looking at him to have another big game as well. Bears going to try and stop this team that they've managed to play several times here in the last few years. They've had some success. We'll be on the radio, 9 a.m., our pregame, noon kickoff from the Meadowlands, Metlife Stadium. Join us on WBBM. For Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. Thanks for watching, everybody.